My wife enjoys making sweet love to me. Super entertaining article came out recently attacking Doug Wilson, who's a pastor out in Idaho. He apparently teaches women to be silent and passive. The article listed many quotes, and it was ridiculous from top to bottom. I will include the link to the story below. Now, I'm not going to address the many quotes and points that this article made. Douglas Wilson has defended himself ably. I actually want to talk about what motivates certain people, women usually, to attack certain kinds of Christians who have, certain views on marriage and on gender roles. So at the end of Doug Wilson's response, by the way, if you don't know who I'm talking about, go look it up, or just wait for another minute and then I'll start talking about what I actually want to talk about. So Doug Wilson's response, at the very end of it, he, after being, dealing with being accused of teaching women to be passive and silent, he then talks about his daughters and their reactions to this article attacking him. How they scoffed and mocked and laughed and were greatly amused. Both of his daughters are very accomplished, mothers of several children, but also authors, editors, loud, obnoxious bloggers, and, if you know them personally, confident, intimidating women. What motivates people a la Rachel Held Evans to attack broadly anyone who even dares to suggest that men initiate and women respond in the dance of the sexes, who even dare to suggest that there might be, not to use any loaded words, but a sort of complementarity to how the sexes interact. Anyone who dares to talk even a little bit like that, we go after them. Why? And I think it's actually, it's deeply misogynistic, deeply prejudiced, not to say prejudicial to those that they go after. And I've run into a form of this in another way. I have often had difficulty getting along with women. Except for my wife. It's been nice. My sister loves me. Actually, lots of ladies love me, let's be honest. And I love the ladies. But when I've had personal conflict in life, especially at work, it's often been females. And I remember talking to my mother about this. And part of it is just culture. Like my mom just straight up said, "You don't get along with white women." So she unpacked that a little bit. You don't get along with American women. Okay. So there's certain cultural expectations, but that's part of the thing. These people don't see how much of this is being informed by their own culture, and they are unwilling to accept a culture that might be a little different from theirs. So here's the thing that I've personally experienced that I think is happening here, and is super obnoxious and super prejudiced against women. Listen to how I talk. They see how I carry myself, and they make certain decisions about me. They decide that because I'm a loud, brash man with a beard and many babies, that, I'm a bad dude who oppresses people. My wife hates that. People, and this is why she hates it. Not for my own sake, please. She hates it because people think she's some sort of doormat. people think she's some sort of little, just useless appendage to me. And in fact, she is a majestic creature who often intimidates me. And it's completely based, this judgment of me and therefore this judgment of her is based off of superficial culture cues. They're just, oh, beard, babies, speaking confidently, member of the Christian patriarchy. I have had people approach my spiritual leadership about how my wife was doing with no grounds at all. People who did not know me, who knew me from my online presence. In one egregious case, this is not someone in authority over me, but nothing's ever come of these, by the way. But in one egregious case, some women who had been reading my blog got in touch with a pastor I work with and said they were concerned for the safety of my wife. And he's like, what are you talking about? And they were concerned for the safety of my wife because of the articles I had written about sex. Absolutely insane. These articles had made these women think that I must be a bully. When in fact, I'm a very generous giver, and my wife enjoys making sweet love to me. Here is what happens in this moment of judgment. These women imagine being married to me. And they see that they would never put up with the way I behave. So they decide that I must have defeated my wife in the war of marriage. That she puts up with the way I behave because I crushed her. Instead of making the positive and very Christian assumption that my wife likes the way I am. Could you imagine that? So going back to the whole thing with Pastor Wilson, the women in his life appear to like the way he is. And that has had no small part in their own development. They're around my age. As Christians and as Christian women. And they blossom. Oh, how wonderful. And they love him. Maybe if you knew the people you were talking about, maybe if you knew the culture you were talking about, maybe if you interacted seriously with the ideas that you're talking about, instead of creating paper tigers out of ideas, paper tigers out of people. Give them some justice. Treat them as they are. And then maybe decide they're wrong, decide they're evil, decide they're wicked, or decide they're good. We can deal with the ideas, we can deal with the people, and that is just the barest of modicums of respect. Just the barest, needliest, beadliest bit of respect that we need in order to have a conversation. Of course, the goal is not to have a conversation. The goal is to make everyone agree with you. I'm just doing a video. I'm going to edit all this out.